My name is Naomi Hudson. I just recently turned 18 and I'm super excited to cast my ballot in the BC general election on October 24th.
I'm Ali Saeed. I'm 30 years old. I moved from Iran 5 years ago and I just got my Canadian citizenship.
My name is Chelsea Harmon. Even though I've lived in Canada for the last 10 years, I just became a citizen in February. So this is the first official election in Canada that I qualify to vote in.
I'm Edgar Villanueva Cruz. I just turned 18 and I'm getting ready to vote this year because it will make a change and impact within our communities.
I think what makes me the most excited is just finally having that ability to exercise my civil right to vote.
I've been actually voting, participating in elections throughout my life, but this is my first time voting as a Canadian citizen in Canada. And I believe it is exciting for me because elections in Canada are inherently a free election.
I was slightly sad that there's not going to be a federal election because I thought that that would be just the trifecta, the US federal, the BC provincial, and the Canadian federal, but it's okay. I've gotten over it since then.
I'm nervous because of the current political environment here in Vancouver and in the whole province of British Columbia. And I'm very excited to vote because I'm ready for actual change and impact to be made.
Obviously, COVID-19 has wreaked havoc on the job market and on the economy, and it specifically impacted more service-based, in-person type sectors, and those are sectors that young people disproportionately tend to work in. And then on the social justice aspect, obviously with what's been going on in the world with Black Lives Matter and standing up for Indigenous rights and reconciliation, as a BIPOC myself, those are issues that have always been very important to me.
I'd like to see change for the group homes, those sort of dorms, the dormitories, the support systems that are in place, counseling, therapy, and as well as looking for employment, because so many youth have been destroyed by the upcoming pandemic, and that's totally affected their mental health.
Things like a safe roof over somebody's head, no matter what kind of life circumstances they're finding themselves in. So affordable housing, but also housing for people who don't have a place to call home, who are leaving their homes because it's not a safe place for them to be.
Basically, I'm not a one-issue voter, but for me, if I want to actually pinpoint one issue that is important to me, I think I would say that opioid crisis, not because it is affecting me personally, but I think how we are dealing with this crisis defines us as a community.
I would just want to know what exactly they have in plan for young British Columbians.
Will you implement urban Indigenous self-government under the recent adoption of Bill 41 in the province of British Columbia?
They could better explain what is their plan for dealing with opioid crisis in their platform.
I would want to know from these politicians how they're going to keep working towards growing us towards a more green economy as we recover from COVID.
I don't see any justification for calling an early election, and I'm inherently angry. I'm mad at the political party who was in charge, who called this a snap election, because for me, it's not convincing. The reasons they are providing, it's not convincing.
If we look at the statistics last year, and for the amount of voters, I believe it was around 60%. And now I'm really thinking about the amount of people that will vote this year in the midst of the pandemic and what those statistics will look like.
I have friends who are poll workers in the States, and so they talked about some of the fears that they had as poll workers about their safety with everything happening with COVID. And just because of them, I've decided to do a mail-in ballot here as well.
Because it's a mail-in ballot, that definitely reinforces the need for me to vote as early as possible, just to make sure that everything gets processed on time.
I think the apathy is surrounded by because we're looking at the history of Canada, right? Especially as youth here today, and we're thinking about the previous elections. What did that look like? What was promised? What happened? What didn't happen? What goals did they follow through with? Right? So as youth, we are very, very critical of that today because we are the leaders of tomorrow.
I would say just please try your best not to let the cynicism get the best of you.
It definitely feels a bit more important to vote in the US election, given everything that's happening there. But voting in the BC election still feels important to me because these issues really do matter. And there's a consequence, right? 4 years, up to 4 years of a party being in, setting the tone for how we're going to recover from COVID, how we're going to keep addressing issues like housing and safe drug supply.
I would just generally would say that people that might be the first time voters or new immigrants like me, that they just don't know whether they should vote in this pandemic or not. I would say definitely do it. And don't ever forget, when you are not voting, you are just letting other people decide for you.